Not too many years ago, 3 young men, Sammy, Oliver, and Charlie, decided they needed a break from everything: work, life, noise. So they planned a simple camping trip deep inside the forested mountains. The idea was Oliver's, of course. He wasn't scared of anything. Adventure, to him, was the cure for every problem. Sammy, he was different. Careful, quiet. The kind of guy who checks the map 3 times before even thinking about leaving the house. And Charlie, well, Charlie didn't say much. He just nodded. But somehow that small nod felt like he already knew something was waiting for them out there. The night before the trip, Sammy barely slept. He spent hours checking their gear, marking routes, making sure nothing would go wrong. But something did. The next morning, they packed up the car and started driving toward the mountains. Mist slid between the peaks like a thin curtain, lifting slowly as they passed through. They laughed on the way, talked about old memories, old jokes, the kind of things that make you forget you're headed somewhere you shouldn't be. As they went deeper, the paved roads disappeared. Tall trees surrounded them, trunks thick enough to hide anything behind them, shapes strange enough to make you look twice, and the deeper they drove, the quieter everything felt. Too quiet. By the time they reached their destination, the air had changed. The smell of damp soil clung to everything birds called from far away. Not normal birds, the kind you only hear once you're too deep to turn back. But they didn't know any of that yet. To them, this was still a vacation. They found a nice elevated clearing, surrounded by tall trees. They pitched their tents, unpacked, started cooking. It was still before noon. The day felt peaceful, almost gentle. By sunset, they lit their campfire. Their laughter echoed through the dark trees, warm and alive. But then, it stopped. Oliver froze, mid-sip. Something was moving in front of him, something pale, shifting in the dark. It expanded, then shrank. Disappeared, reappeared, like it wasn't really there, like it didn't belong to this world. He called the others. All 3 of them saw it, a pale shape, gliding in a motion that wasn't human and wasn't animal either. "What is that?" Charlie whispered. "A wolf, maybe a fox," Oliver said, forcing confidence he didn't really feel. "There's nobody out here, no houses, no people. It has to be an animal." But Sammy shook his head slowly. "No, that's not a dog, not a person. Something's wrong here." The shape drifted, twisted, vanished. They tried to laugh it off, pretend it was nothing. They finished dinner and went to sleep. Morning came. Sammy walked out of his tent and froze the dishes from the night before, completely clean. Not a single crumb left. He called his friends over and asked, "Did anyone get rid of last night's food?" Oliver and Charlie both said no. They brushed it off, assuming some animal must have eaten the leftovers during the night. They hiked that day to clear their minds, but the deeper they walked, the stranger things got. Burn marks on trees, circles of stones arranged too perfectly to be natural, a piece of half-burned cloth hanging from a branch covered in ash. A feeling settled over them. Something wasn't right. That night, they tried to enjoy their second campfire. Tried, but failed. A strange sound echoed through the forest, soft at first, then louder. Oliver pointed a flashlight into the trees. Nothing. Then a black cat appeared out of the dark. Still, silent eyes glowing. Charlie tossed it a piece of meat. It didn't move, and then it vanished. Later that night, around 2 a.m., they finally went to sleep. But Sammy stayed awake. He heard it first, chewing, crunching, bones breaking. His heart hammered as he unzipped his tent just enough to see outside, and what he saw froze. His blood. A massive figure crouched near their leftover food. Human-shaped, but wrong. Gray skin stretched tight over bulging muscle, hair filthy, matted, arms too long, ending in black claws, legs bent backward like a beast, two glowing red eyes, staring into the dim firelight. It leaned forward and licked the dishes with a long black tongue, a wet, sickening sound, followed by a low chuckle. The smell, rot and decay, hit Sammy so hard he nearly gagged. Then everything went black. Oliver and Charlie found him at dawn, eyes open, frozen in terror. When he finally moved, he couldn't speak. His face was pale, shaking, and once again the dishes were spotless. Huge, twisted handprints marked the dirt around the fire. They didn't pack slowly. They didn't talk. They just ran, drove straight to the nearest hospital. But the doctors found nothing wrong. Nothing. As they left, Oliver noticed a dark mark on Sammy's wrist, a faint imprint of a massive hand. He opened his mouth to ask, but Sammy just shook his head, and from that day on, Sammy was never the same again.